Hey, what's happening, Soul Tribe? This is Neo Ra. Got another channel message today. Just tapping into this energy. Thank the Father, Mother, and the Holy Spirit. And we ask to clear all energies that are not serving our higher self and highest timeline. So I did a pre-card shuffle before I started this recording, and the message is already coming through that you're shining with this star card and the High Priestess coming out. Rising star. You are shining. You are a star. Your intuition about being on your path. The Fool card came out first. This is also a new beginning, and you know this about yourself. You can sense this new beginning and claiming your generational wealth as a star seed on earth at this time. And the next card I got was a Nine of Swords. I want to see, is this the collective or is this somebody else worrying? Are you worried about this new beginning? Or is this somebody else? Hangman. To clarify the Nine of Swords. So this is somebody else worried about this new beginning. And the Magician, cut the deck on the Magician. And that's interesting. That's not something you need to worry about. Whatever that is not going to affect you. Seeing the Devil card. And Strength. So I am getting, this could be a past relationship that's worried about your new beginning and seeing you in abundance. King of Pentacles. This is somebody that you may have cut off. I see the Two of Swords in the deck. This is somebody you may have cut off that is getting some kind of new perspective about who they were in the relationship and Six of Coins. This may be somebody that was not able to meet you at your level. I'm hearing relationships come to a close, and the soul contracts may or may not have been fulfilled by the time either or both parties in the relationship. This is during the Saturn. And I think everybody's heard this if you're watching readings, if you're just sensing what's going on. These are some past energies. Knight of Swords talks about ambition, and you don't even notice these energies just moving forward. Speaking your truth on your path, Capricorn, Aquarius. Your heart chakra is healed. You're looking forward. You're in an abundance frequency. You're holding that frequency. You know how to hold that frequency now. The moon, Pisces, High Priestess. You know how to hold the frequency of abundance and not giving away your focus, your energy, and your gifts to people from the past has given you balance. I'm seeing the Queen of Pentacles. So you are gaining balance between the feminine and masculine energies required to generate. I'm seeing Amun. Amun, or we hear a lot, Amen, Amen. Amen comes from the Egyptian deity Amun, and that represents the Fool card. Amun is the divine feminine and masculine balanced. And I'm hearing 0 point. This is where we create with spirit. We co-create with spirit because we are the embodiment of, seeing the Queen of Wands on the bottom. We co-create with spirit when we reach this level, and using our intuition, divine masculine, the Emperor, we get access to our generational wealth, and our ancestors are guiding the collective on the path. I'm seeing the dog with this Fool card and the cat. Some of you may have animals. You may be seeing animals. I'm seeing a black cat coming, and the black cat is the divine feminine in Egyptian deities. Which is talks about a new beginnings also, and being fertile, full of that source energy that we need to create the fire. So I got out here air, a lot of air, earth, fire, water with the queen, Queen's rising. So I'm seeing a lot of pairs out here. So for those of you who are interested in a divine partnership, it looks like you may already have that available, and If not, it may be something on your path that you have access to. And you'll know if this message is for you. Seeing a lot of Uranus, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Mars. The Sun out here with strength, Leo, Virgo, Sag, Capricorn. So 10:35 on the timer. Wheel of Fortune and the King of Cups. So the tides are turning. Some of you may live by water. I'm hearing the ocean. Seeing the divine masculine sitting on the throne. Some of you may be noticing that you're a lot more grounded. Getting out in nature, being under the sun. Seeing this Fool card. When I say grounded, I'm saying you're on your throne with your crown and you got the sun shining, feeding you energy on a soul level, soul food. Some of you may be eating better, feeding your soul with what you're focused on. And I'm hearing where we put our focus has a big impact, plays a large role in how we manifest, which frequency we're manifesting on. Being mindful of the amount of outside influence from media, our devices, people around us, where we allow our thoughts to go and dwell, what we're dwelling in, is something to be taking responsibility for. When we are choosing to be present, noticing that 13:13 on the timer, noticing that distinction between being in the matrix on autopilot and allowing any stream of information to come into our consciousness is the old version of us, I'm hearing. So it may be just time to acknowledge how far you've come in this lifetime, in many lifetimes up to this point. Sometimes we are so focused on where we're going that we miss some steps. And one of the important steps in growth is acknowledging where we are now. And as far as comparison, it's not good to compare ourselves to anyone else. However, assessing how far we've come is the comparison between the different versions of ourselves. And now that you're on a new level, I'm seeing like in the Boy Scouts when they finish a new skill and they get a badge. I'm seeing you have a lot of patches on your vest, on your uniform. somebody may be in the military or may have been in the military, or be I'm seeing Flair from the movie, what was it, with Ryan, Waiting. I think that was Flair. Anyway, the fire, some of you may really have a lot more energy, that you're more magnetic, and it's hard to see. And even looking in the mirror each day as we slowly evolve, the growth and how far we've come, 15:55 on the timer, seeing how far we've come on our path, being aligned, listening to messages. A lot of you watch readers and are open to tapping into spirit. Some of you may be readers. You may have abilities that you are aware of and that you're using to manifest, because you're the star and you know this already. And this is an acknowledgement from spirit that you're doing amazing. You're the best. I'm hearing that song. You're the best around, and no one's ever gonna bring you down. What movie was that? I'll say Rocky or Top Gun or something. I don't know. Somebody may be needing to hear that. That you're doing an amazing job. Life is it's different for everybody, but sometimes we just need to hear that we've done the right thing, that we are making good choices, that somebody's appreciating and somebody's proud of our accomplishments, and spirit wants you to know that your ancestors are proud of you. If this message resonates with you, and then you have done a lot of work on yourself, for your bloodline, breaking generational curses. I'm hearing this shit ain't easy. This shit ain't easy. It comes naturally, but we live in a place and a time where it's taken a long time to get to this point, and we need to be aware that it's not to be taken for granted, right? Even though this says the fool, this new beginning is an accomplishment, and the acknowledgement of completing lessons as a soul, lessons that nobody can take away and are required to move effortlessly through life. So I had a dream about, I used to smoke a lot, and I was with Snoop and somebody else, and we were gonna go in this. It was like an old apartment building I used to live in. We were gonna go upstairs to somebody's room, and we were gonna smoke. And I remember in the dream I was going up, and then I realized I had left my stuff and my keys. Keys may be significant. I had left my keys where I had seen them on a different floor, so I went back down to get my stuff and my keys. And then I realized I didn't know where they were when I left. I didn't know what floor they were on. I didn't know what room they were in. I don't know if it was an apartment building or a hotel. And what I'm getting from that is it was more important to stay focused on myself, my gifts, and the lessons being the keys. Like I needed to make sure I had my keys with me. It's like moving on autopilot is not even worth following anybody, right? As a star, I don't care who you are. If I don't have what I need with me to move through life, I'm not following anybody, first of all, but I'm not even going anywhere with you if I'm not taking care of my needs first. Because how am I going to show up and not know where I'm at, not have access to my stuff, and not be tapped into my gifts and abilities? What good am I? Watching a series called The Dollhouse about they take people and they wipe their memories and they load different whole personalities into them, and then they send them out to do different assignments and missions. And why is this significant? Because as a star, right, you can recreate yourself. In this show, it was all technology, and they were using it in ways that weren't in anybody's best interest, right? But people who had money. But as the star, with our gifts, I don't want this message to get out. What that is telling me is the old versions of ourselves is like, people think, oh, people don't change. Well, that's not true. People do change. And when they say you can become anybody, you can become president, I think the message to take away from that is you can become your best version of yourself, and being open to discovering what that is and not being attached to what other people expect is the value, and you can become anything. And also not letting people project their version of you or who they need you to be, and as an empath, having the discernment about knowing and being a divine being, embodying your higher self, that you aren't available for what other people need in order for them to feel good about themselves, right? For a majority of my life, instead of shining, because being this triggers people around and they want to compete and compare to the magnetism that's created when you're embodying this energy. Uranus, Aquarius, and your crown chakra. When you have your crown activated, your crown chakra, you would think it would be setting the example. But for people who, and it is, right? And you are more magnetic. But for people who haven't done the work, don't know they can change, right? Because if you don't like where you are, you should do something about it, right? But a lot of people, instead of doing something about where they're at, they want you to lower your frequency instead of being the emperor, right? They want you to just be a king or a queen or a knight or a page, right? They want you to step down, and maybe you've done that in the past and people know that version of you, right? And they think, well, I'm just going to see you how I want to see you and hold on to the ideal that people don't change. 2603 on the timer. And it makes people sad. It makes people sad when you outshine them and they don't know. They don't know. They're foolish. They don't know that you're setting an example about what's possible. You're not trying to show people up. So this is a lesson that should just be confirmation for what you already know. But when we get in the reading at the beginning, these energies about people being in this anxiety and this devil hangman energy, right? And wanting to share energy with you, in order to even see people who are in that energy, you have to be open to a really low frequency, especially when you're in when you're in intuition, you're in high priest, high priestess, the star energy, and you're doing you have a new beginning, you're starting on a new path, you've recreated yourself, you're on a new timeline. People might be looking for you. Maybe you're not talking to a lot of people right now. 2748 on the timer. Yeah, you're not talking to a lot of people, especially about what you're creating before you create it. 28 on the timer. So, what else, Spirit? Keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about saving everybody. People are going to learn how to, I'm hearing, take care of themselves and take responsibility for their actions. And that's what will get them access to their own crown chakra being active. It's not by you dimming your light. That's not going to get them. That's enabling. And that's what I was used to most of my life, not knowing who I was and what I was capable of, is dimming my light so as not to make other people around me feel insecure, especially as a child, triggering people around me, even in my family, who would use their positions of authority to make my life miserable, right? So, and having had that experience, we don't ever want to project that, right? We don't ever want to be that for somebody else, where we don't see the potential in people, right? But if we are seeing people as that and they aren't willing to take responsibility for their actions, then at some point it can be not a balanced give and take of energy, right? Which is why we have to take responsibility for who we spend time with and what we focus on, and people who haven't learn those lessons don't understand and might be taking it personally, that you don't want to hang out with them anymore, right? If they're not about anything. I know, going back to that dream and when I was younger and smoked and just looked for people who were on the same frequency, I remember having insight. If I spend as much time as I do staying in this low frequency state, in this disengaged, just kind of zoned out from emotional pain, if I spend as much time as I do masking pain, if I spent that manifesting, I would be in abundance. There wouldn't be any pain. So it's a choice how we use our energy, what we focus on, what portals, what doors open up with spirit to get us back on our path, to give opportunities be presented, and to magnetize to us what best serves us. So we're still in this cosmic alignment with the Dragon's Gate portal. We just had the Lion's Gate on the ending on the 12th of August, and so for the next 2 weeks we're seeing this death card and these three people watching this cosmic alignment and the sun, and it's connected to this newly forming star, right? Because energy is only transferred. It's not created or destroyed energy. It just changes into something else. So even if there's something you don't like, right? That's what alchemy is. You can turn that into something that does serve you. And just taking your time, as opposed to letting time be something that you're at the effect of, have it be something that works in your favor. Even death, I'm seeing, instead of worrying about the end of our lifetime, getting as much value as we can regardless of how long life is. It doesn't matter. When you focus on that, is a form of lack. 3303 on the timer. That's lack. When we focus on that there's not enough of something, as opposed to there's plenty for everyone, right? This can be lack for somebody, or it can be abundance. If you look at it like it's more than I had before, that's abundance. If you look at it like that's still not enough, it's still not enough, then even having an ego death and letting go of an old version of ourselves looks like lack. Like, well, I'm giving up a part of myself. Yeah, but it's a part of yourself that's not needed anymore. And it's not allowing for the transformation of that energy into a new version of yourself, like version 2.0. 34 on the timer. So that's interesting. See, every lifetime, there's value every lifetime, that some lessons we don't have to keep learning. So there's some souls that are older, old soul. I'm hearing some of you are old souls. If you're watching this and it's resonating and you're here this long, you're an old soul. 5, visualize and transform. Yeah, so seeing where we are and where we're going is awareness. And feeling frequencies that we want to transform, right? We want to transform something into something else, the old us and then the new us, is the process of alchemy, and seeing it with your third eye in the High Priestess card. That's what divination is. It's tapping into source and seeing where we are on our path and where we're going. And it's not so much predicting the future as it is creating the future from standing in the present moment, being clear, owning who we are. 35 on the timer. Owning who we are is taking responsibility for our mistakes and choosing something different. And being able to know this, and it's not about beating ourselves up. I think a lot of this energy is not having grace, right? And when we start to give ourselves grace and we stop worrying about lack, and we appreciate just finding things to appreciate, have a different perspective. And, you know, I'm hearing before going to sleep, find 3 things you appreciate about yourself, about your day, something to look forward to before you close your eyes and rest. And be open to waking up with answers that you didn't have, using that dream time to get messages and stay on the path. Because we all have gifts and abilities to manifest, and being at a higher frequency and choosing to be abundant. Abundance is a choice. It's not about material, it's about mental clarity is abundance, right? Being able to just be clear-headed and receive messages is a gift that not everybody has access to, especially if they are toxic or karmic or not able to take responsibility for their own choices, right? That's just a simple logical thing. Like, I did this, it caused this, and I chose to do it, and these are the consequences. That's part of being mature and wisdom, right? And then starting new, anything we start new, going with those lessons, it's going to give us access to levels we have not yet. I know a lot of people have been incarnated many times, but that doesn't mean you've experienced everything in the version of you that you're existing in now, is what I'm hearing. So 38:20 on the timer. Let me get one more of these key cards before I close this out. Yeah, visualizing and transforming. So alchemy is understand the pendulum, and I got 2 cards. I got 3 cards. Understanding the pendulum, transcending the laws, discovering your answers within. Understanding, transforming, and discovering within. That's pretty much what we've been talking about. The High Priestess, the Star, the Fool, the Death. And then back to the dream I had with the keys. I went back to get my keys, because having these lessons, when you understand this and you've experienced these truths, these as true, you have keys, you have access to doors or experiences or realms that not everybody has access to. This glass ceiling, this chained, bound experience is what some people are stuck in, sometimes for their whole lifetime, sometimes for many lifetimes, because they don't want to collect the keys by learning the lessons about the truth and having masks, and that is not a rabbit hole that we need to even go down right now. I'm hearing tricks are for kids, that rabbit. Yeah, because we're not kids anymore. We're highly evolved divine beings. And I'm seeing these birds go through this portal, taking flight. So get ready to take flight. That's what I'm hearing. All aboard. We're in the Dragon's Gate portal. You've learned the lessons. You know the rules of the road. Now it's time to be free and create with the Creator. Co-create. Co-create something. I'm hearing blow your own mind. 4112 on the timer. Blow your own mind. All right. Thank you for joining me. Any of this that is resonating with you, take it with you. That which doesn't, leave it for somebody else. This is Neo Ra. Thank you so much. Much love and respect to the collective. Have a peaceful day.